This kata is the most important one in karate. It's called San Zhan and comes from an ancient style called white crane. That's what the old masters studied in Okinawa, the birthplace of karate. But why is it so important? To find the answer, I traced its roots back to China. Only to discover that someone had been there before me. That man is Martin Watts, and he used to live in Yongchun village, the birthplace of white crane. If anyone can tell me why this kata is so important, it's him.
This actually also helps you develop 1-inch power?
That would be our goal.
Get ready to learn the secrets of San Zhan, or as we call it in Japanese, Sanchin.
Okay. I'm just gonna hit you here. Yeah. The primary movement for San Zhan is pushing out, lifting and drawing back to the center, and then setting. We have the back foot open, we have the front foot straight. We're gripping, so we're working on these. This is working on the ankle flexibility. So we're working on the tendon strengths coming up here, on the front and inside here. Pulling down the slats.
These muscles?
Yeah. We're concerned that our chin is in. We're concerned that the head is lifted. We're concerned that the elbows are covering the floating ribs, stretching the tendons. So that in itself becomes a static workout.
So we have these 3 basic movements that San Zhan consists of. So is there a way that we can learn how to apply this in a more self-defense or street fight perspective?
So much of this is body conditioning.
Yes.
That just the act of being a lot harder, a lot fitter is a combat. So if you push out gently, then we're interested in what muscles are you using to do that.
Yeah.
And when you come back, then you're pulling into your center. So if you drop your shoulders, Jesse, and pull towards your belly button, which we call dantian, which I think you call tanden in karate. Our end goal is to use very short movements. So what they would refer to as 1-inch power.
Could you talk more about that? Because people think it's a magical feat, something only Bruce Lee could do.
It's a very simple idea. The idea is, if you can do something, can you try and do it in as short a distance as possible? That's all it is. So if we're doing this position, for example, and we do this, then I'm not doing this.
Right.
I'm just doing this. Okay?
So there's like no wind-up.
No wind-up.
Or maybe it happens internally.
It happens through rising. That is the wind-up, so it comes up here.
That's where people say that your ki or your life force is stored. What is your perspective on this?
I don't really believe in ki. And please keep that in.
Yes. I'm not cutting that out.
Okay, so it depends how you want to talk about chi. From my perspective, the way you want to look at that is if you're going to move, you're going to have an intention which is going to move. And that intention is going to start moving something which will probably be here and to do with breathing. And from that, you're going to link into the actual movement, which is going to get your blood going. And if you can harmonize all that, then you're probably optimizing the way that you're doing everything. And you could say he has good ki, but we wouldn't attribute some other power to it, unless you're a Jedi.
May the force be with you.
So if you're doing singing, one of the first things you have to work on is breathing, and people tend to breathe up at the top of the chest.
Right.
Instead of breathing down here.
Yes.
Right. Which automatically, if you breathe up, then this lifts, then the shoulders rise. And this for me becomes a much easier person to handle, who has the body lifted up here.
Yes.
If you're breathing down there, that means you can lock down. Yeah? You can still keep the breathing going. You can keep everything sinking down.
Yes.
But you're actually, when you're driving from here, it's not just driving, you would say in Chinese, qi dao dantian, put the qi into the dantian. It's not just making sure that the air's breathing there, it's making sure that you're not breathing here.
All right.
So you have to think, if you want to put qi or concentration in one place, what you're doing is removing the focus from the other places. And that's probably as important.
Yes.
From a martial perspective, definitely.
And I've heard about this concept of bridging. Could you just explain what it actually means?
Really is limb control in terms of who has the upper hand. It's very easy to see it in this position because clearly I'm on a bridge. And a basic position, if I'm across the bridge, I can go in through the bridge. But not just a light touch. It's actually limb control with some feedback coming in. If you think with a bridge you have to have a structure, I need the structure of your force coming back.
Yes.
And that's why you can break my bridge just by dropping your left arm. That breaks the bridge. You've broken the bridge by actually giving way.
Sometimes in karate you see people are very stiff and constricted. And it's all about being hard and tense. But you're saying it's more about selective tension and being also soft in other parts.
Anybody who trains for a long time finds that smooth hardness where they're doing their katas and it just feels, if you do a kata and you just keep moving and make it a little bit more Chinesey looking, you encounter that feeling where you're kind of humming.
Some people think softness is weakness, because then your opponent can overpower you.
Softness is weakness, yes.
So interesting. Yeah. So
if you think of softness as being not soft, but just softness of your ability to change into something else, then you can do the Neo thing from the Matrix, where you're actually flowing with it. But you can't flow like that. You can't do an exercise and then have no strength coming back. In Chinese, you're talking about Ting Li, which is listen to strength.
Listen.
Normally
so not
interpreted,
with your ears, though.
No, but it is the same thing.
Okay.
But normally, if you're talking about sensitivity drills, in a lot of systems I've seen, then they're interested in a very light touch.
Okay.
So sensitivity is through the skin.
Right.
But the skin is completely unimportant to me.
Okay.
In order to listen to the strength, I require some strength.
Yes.
So you can't train sensitivity without there being a charged up power. And then the charging up power is really who's dominating. And who's dominating from our perspective is who is not in control of their dantian.
The center.
Yeah.
So what are some common mistakes you see when people practice San Zhan kata?
Well, if you take a stance, Jesse.
Okay.
I think in karate, what's it called when you hit people and you're checking the stuff?
Yeah, shime.
Shime.
Right.
Shime. So I've never done shime with anyone in China in that fashion. But what they are doing, for example, if I want to check your foot strength, then here there's a tendon that rises. And we would just check that. And it's good to check that. That's not really very risen, I would say, for example. Now that's rising up.
Right.
And the nice thing about that way of doing it is that if you do it yourself, you can check. Yeah. There's a counter tender up here, which you would check. Okay?
So there's like a tendon behind my knee. And if I'm doing it correctly, it should rise.
Well, it does.
Yeah.
If you have it, Jesse.
Yeah.
If you do San Zhan, you will have one.
I'm a beginner in this.
And we can check points like that. Not a lot of points.
Yeah.
We can check this a common mistake.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you just turn sideways. Jesse. Common mistake. One common mistake doesn't happen to you. You're quite well trained. Is that people don't know what upright means. So
they do this.
Well, they might lean back, they might lean forwards, and you want it to be upright.
Yeah.
And that's probably a good thing to have. You've just corrected that.
Yeah.
So here is not engaged.
Right.
So everything that comes from here, we're interested in pulling up to here, which means that this should be engaged, which means it's bulbous. If that's concave, then you've not really linked through as best as you can. Yeah?
So interestingly enough, we haven't done a single punch yet. I thought karate was all about punching. And if this is supposed to be the most important kata, then where are the punches? I don't see any strikes. It's mostly just grappling or body control or biomechanics. Is there a way to...
The way we practice San Zhan, we would be using open arms, we'd be using claws.
Okay.
And this is development, you know.
Right.
And you can also practice it straight with punches. That's absolutely not a problem. You can practice the whole last section with punches.
So you could actually do different versions of San Zhan? Open hands, closed hands?
Well, those aren't actually different versions. Those are variations of one version.
Okay. Would you mind giving a final demonstration of San Zhan kata?
Of the whole kata?
Yes.
I don't mind.
Okay.
准备，开始。
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing your time, experience, and expertise.
Thank you for your curiosity, Jesse.
With all of us out there. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Any last words to the karate nerds?
Keep going.
All right.
It's all inside there.